This episode is brought to you by Farmers Insurance. When was the last time you reviewed your insurance policy? So it's been a while, huh? Well, no worries. My friends at the Austin Brummett Agency would love to hear from you and provide you with some amazing rates. Give them a call at 678-402-8262 or email them at abrummett@farmersagent.com. That's ABRUMIT at farmersagent.com, and tell them Harli sent you. Insiders, Inside the Bubble with Harli G is now sponsored by BetterHelp. As a partner of this episode, listeners can access the BetterHelp link located in the show notes to receive 10% off your first month of therapy with BetterHelp and get matched with a therapist who will listen and help. Go to BetterHelp, that is BetterHelp.com/inside the bubble, the link to get started. You're listening to Inside the Bubble with Harli G, the podcast for the superwoman. Every week, we connect with amazing individuals who share their inspirational experiences and stories while motivating and inspiring purpose. It's time to hang your cape. Grab your coffee, your water, your cocktail, and come on in Inside the Bubble with me, your host, Harli G. Welcome, insiders, to Inside the Bubble with Harli G. Today on the show, I have Ivory. Okay, at our job, we are known as Ebony and Ivory. And oddly enough, so Carly texted me this morning and she's like, "How do I need to dress for this podcast?" And she was like, "Do I dress comfy or do I just zazzle it out?" And I was like, somewhere in between. And then we end up literally looking the same. Like we literally dress the exact same today. So opposite too. It's so funny.
That's right.
That's so funny.
You got the black tennies, I got the white tennies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have to yeah. It's the same. It's the same. But anyway, that's the story of my life. Anyway, but I am really excited today to have a conversation with Carley STephens. And the reason why is because I feel like, well, you have an amazing story. Just even, figuring out life. You know how they say life be lifing. So like really figuring out life, and then to tie it all in, just the beacon that you are in the community. I mean, like, this is Miss Community. That is literally her name. And so I definitely want to tap into that community service part and talk about, do you feel like it ties into your purpose? So I definitely want to talk about that. But if you see Carly, she's literally, Barbie. That's what Carly looks like. She looks like Barbie. So make sure you check out the YouTube channel so you can actually get a visual for how Carly looks. But anyway, she looks like Barbie. But anyway, and so oftentimes we have a tendency to look at someone and say, "Oh my gosh, she's put together. She has the perfect job. She has the perfect life. She lives in the perfect house." And we have no idea what that person has been through to be where they are at that point in time in life, right? And so like trials and tribulations, we tend to, and we're not exposed to that oftentimes. So we just see what we see, what's in front of us. But I want you to talk a little bit about your journey through life, right? Because it wasn't always peaches and cream. She's like laughing at me.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
Yes.
Well, first, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for thinking of me and asking me. And I hope that some nugget of maybe what I say resonates with your audience in terms of maybe something that they're going through or have gone through or maybe will go through, and gives them a little bit of hope or positivity in whatever journey they have. I really enjoyed, I share my story a lot because, to your point, I think a lot of people, we never, we're always like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" And it's like, "Good, fine." And then that's it.
It's not. Yes.
And you only see what you see and what
Exactly.
people put out there. And so I try to be as open as I can, but grew up in a conservative Christian household, which was great. I'm an only child, love my parents, have a fabulous relationship with them now.
Did you catch that?
Okay. But, it started early for me. I tried to be kind of the perfect student, the perfect daughter, the perfect child. I'm a perfectionist and I still try my hardest not to be, right? But I married my high school sweetheart because I thought that's what you do.
That's what's expected of you.
Right. Like, okay, I'm from a smaller town in Michigan, and it was just kind of like, okay, well, you go through high school, you have your long-term boyfriend, you go to college, whatever. And so I married my high school sweetheart. We'd been dating since we were sophomores in high school, all through college. And he went into the Navy. So after graduated college, followed him. We had like 3 days to get married.
Wow.
Have a honeymoon, and then we were deployed. And so moved immediately to Charleston, South Carolina for a year while he was in nuclear engineering school. Just kind of found odd jobs, but tried to find friends and connection, even though I was super young, 21, 22.
Oh, wow.
Right, when we got married, and away from home, away from all I knew. And so we were there, and then we were stationed in Kings Bay Naval Base, which is here in Georgia. And then he went out for 6 months at a time on submarines. And I was home by myself, alone. And it was really hard. He became an alcoholic, unfortunately, in the Navy. And we got divorced. And I just thought it was going to be like the end of all ends. Because my parents, my mother specifically had even asked me, like, are you sure you want to get married? She had an inkling of like, you're so young, you have so much opportunity, like, go live a little. Because I think, she didn't. She got married to her high school sweetheart.
Oh, wow.
And my parents are still together. But, and I was like, oh yeah, like, I've got this. I can do this. I was very confident. And right? I'm like, I'm making the right decision.
Exactly. I'm 21. I know everything.
Right. You have that feeling of like, okay, marriage is hard, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yes. So,
and we got divorced, and it was.
So how long were you guys married for?
We were married we got married in 2000 and, oh shoot, I think it was like 2005.
Okay.
And we got divorced in 2008.
Okay.
However, we've been together since high school. So, but yes, we were married for like 3 years. And got divorced, and now I'm in this tiny little town in Georgia with no family and going through this on my own. And I thought, okay, this was a huge mistake. We're from a family of faith, so God hates divorce. We don't believe in this. I thought maybe I just didn't try hard enough. Maybe I didn't make it work. I got to fix it. I got to fix it.
Right.
Because if you're a perfectionist, that's like the first thing you go to.
Yes, exactly.
You don't give yourself time to assess.
Feel.
No, like what just happened.
Right. Even understand. Right?
No, it's just like, I got to make this better.
Right.
And it was more about making it better for my parents than it was about making it better for me. Or, my high school friends are like, oh my gosh, I'm the first one to get
and
divorced.
Like, you talk a little bit about growing up in a Christian home. Yeah. So what impact did that have on you, right? Because it's like, you already talk about how I kind of did what was expected of me. I went to high school. I married a high school sweetheart. Like, how was that? Like, did you feel the pressure from that?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it was a huge, I think the external pressure of, kind of making sure your life follows, looks a certain way in the faith.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Where it is, it's like that two-person household.
Yes.
You're just supposed to stay married forever and have the 2 kids and all of that. And it really rocked my faith because I was just like, this was not the plan I had for myself. And how could this be the plan that God has for me if it involves something that he hates? Right? Like,
yes.
I just totally didn't understand.
Did you question him?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I questioned not just my faith, but like, what do I believe in? Because I just don't feel like what is happening to me is supportive of what I've come to know or what I think I know about my faith, about God, about any of it. And it just was like, I'm alone. I don't know. And so I immediately started dating and got married again within a year to my second husband.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, we're counting.
Well, two now.
Okay, we're on
Okay.
two.
Come on, keep up.
Yeah. And he was the quintessential like Southern gentleman, right? Like bow ties, suspenders, banker.
Wow.
He was an only child, you know, and I thought, okay, and he has family here. He's got a whole community of friends that he's already tapped into. Right. And I was like, okay, so this is how I'm fixing it.
Yes.
Like, oh, look what I found. Right? Just like, everyone, look what I found.
It's better now.
Yeah.
It's better.
Yeah. And I kept getting a little older. So my first husband was like my age. My second husband's like 5 years older. I was like, maybe this will be better. He'll be a little more mature, more financially stable. Right. He has a house. He has all the things. Yes. Right. And well, as we know, I said that was my second.
Okay. So like even getting to the point to where you are now back out there, you're meeting other people, you meet this gentleman. Like, what was that process like? Because within a year, have you had time to even realize what happened in the last one? No. Have you had time to kind of figure out, you know, some lessons to be learned and healing and, you know, all that stuff?
Zero. Right? Zero. So that's a huge component of why it like was my second husband. Because he married somebody who had no clue who they were. Right? Like I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what my values were, who I wanted to be. I was trying to do something for the look of it, right? Yes. For the picture. Yes. I was trying to do something to fix that. That kind of immediate judgment I felt, which may not have actually existed, but it felt like it did. Yeah. And it was just a disaster, right? Like really, really nice guy. It just didn't work because of exactly what you said. I just thought so now I'm, you know, married again and I'm in this small Southern town and I'm from up north and it didn't feel like me. And I think this was the hardest. My second divorce was the hardest because my first divorce, I could pin it on alcoholism and I could say, that's why I left. But I look back on it, I'm not sure that was the real reason. Right? Like, I think you used that. Absolutely. I think I wanted an excuse. Right. I wanted a justifiable reason.
An excuse that people would say, I understand.
Correct.
Right. Like, yes, of course. Like, it's not.
I'm not blaming you for that.
Yeah. It's like not it's not a thing that's accepted, but because there's alcoholism involved, we can.
It's more correct.
It's more accepted.
It's more acceptable.
Yes.
Right. And the second one, it was just because I didn't feel like I made the right choice in getting married again, and it didn't. And I just kept thinking, like, I am not willing. It came down to like, what are you willing to sacrifice? Right? Like, I'm not willing to sacrifice making it all okay for everybody else and living with the fact that it's not going to be okay with me for the rest of my life.
But when did you figure that out?
I figured that out probably like 6 months in. I mean, you know, it was super quick because I think I thought once I got married to this gentleman that then everything was going to be okay. And it fixed nothing. It fixed nothing. And there were just more problems that came with that because I wasn't living true to myself. And I think the other thing in this too is when I look back, I truly never married a man of faith. And I continuously think about being yoked to an unbeliver. Yes. And I think that had a lot to do with that. There is
something to that.
And I just
tell you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now they both went to church with me.
Yeah.
But they weren't a leader. when I think of like you lead the household in
You
faith.
do. Exactly. And that is the role. And trust me, y'all, I'm not the traditional. Ladies, I know there's so much to do and not enough time in the day. Trust me, I'm right there with you. But what are you doing for yourself? Well, I've recently discovered Body Bar Pilates. Let me tell you a little bit about it. Body Bar Pilates will challenge all of your major muscle groups and provide you with a full body workout. Wow. Listen, I had to check it out. I took a class with Sherelle and it was amazing. They have workouts for all skill levels, whether you're just starting out or you're just looking for a new way to move your body. This is the community for you. Check out my friends at Body Bar Pilates East Cobb or give them a call at 678-941-4371. And don't forget to mention me, Harli G. Caveman, bring the
Right.
food. We're not. I just want to make that absolutely clear that if there could be two more independent women that think they can do it all, it's us, right?
Right here.
But I also believe in my faith, and I believe that God did build the man to be the head of the household. And when he says that, he means also leading in faith. And that means that if I'm rolling around in the bed on Sunday morning and I look like I don't feel like I need to go to church, he's gonna snatch me up out the bed and he's gonna say, let's go. Right? If there's a problem that's happening within the family, within the marriage, we're both gonna get down on our knees and we're gonna pray about it.
Yes.
And so it's that, right? So it's not just going to church, but it's really truly leading, and partnering, you know. And I totally understand because my husband and I were not equally yoked at first, and it was a struggle. It was a struggle because I left and went to church on Sundays, and he stayed home, and he saw absolutely nothing wrong with that. Not to down him or anything, but we weren't in the same place when it came to faith, and that made certain things very hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it even made me practicing my faith a little bit kind of like I had to do it like in the corner. Or I had to kind of hide it a little bit. Like I'm gonna go pray, but I'm not gonna do it in front of him. Right. And so it was just and then I became a little bit resentful. And so it just translates to so many other things.
It does.
But if you have someone that is like, we're doing this together, and we're gonna get down on our knees, and we're gonna it makes a world of difference. It does.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And it translates into how you treat each other and just kind of like where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
That foundation, I think, is so important.
Yes.
And it's kind of a silent foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think about that when I was choosing my partners. And it really bit me in the butt. And it's not their fault, right? Because at some point you do need to make sure that you express what you're looking for and your expectations. But that was a big part of it. And I think when I made the decision to leave my second husband, I had no justification other than this isn't my path. It just can't be because it doesn't feel like this is what God has in store for me. And, it was a really difficult, rocky time. My parents didn't speak to me for a little while because there was no justification. And it's just like, how can you be this selfish? And how can you put our family through this again? And how can you, make that decision just for you? And I felt so alone. But it made me realize too, that sometimes your purpose is going to be the unpopular decision. Sometimes, right? I think sometimes we think about purpose as like
this rosy, beautiful
if you're living in your purpose, everything's great.
Okay, all right.
It's when you're living in your purpose, it can be very difficult because you're going against the norm or what people think about you or what you should do. And I felt like my purpose just was not there. And I felt very, very alone. But at that point, that's when my faith started to build again, because I think I made the decision that was my purpose and right for me. I knew where I wasn't supposed to be. I didn't know what God had in store for me. But what I did start trusting was, I obviously don't know what the I'm doing.
Exactly.
Okay. At that point, I was like, maybe I don't know what the best decision for me is. So, okay, let's try this. Let's try this differently. I was like, okay, I got you now. All right, you got it. I'm gonna listen to you first. And that's when I really started listening to God, and where I felt like He was calling me, and where I felt like who He wanted me to be, and who He wanted me to be with, and all of that. And that's then when I was kind of open to finding my third husband, who I am still married to.
We're on 3 now, people.
Yes.
Keep up. Okay.
We're my third husband. But we've been married for like 8 years.
Okay. So now we on good. Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
I mean, I know I don't look like it.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So yeah, and we have a daughter now, and that was never in the equation with my other husbands. That never crossed my mind that I wanted to have children with them, because I felt like it would tie us together even closer, and it would be harder to get out, which sounds terrible. Yeah. But that feeling of just like, I don't want to have a child or a family because I want to be able to leave, was that indicator of just like, you are not where you're supposed to be.
Yes.
And so now we have a beautiful daughter. She's 4. And I right?
Is not. Yeah, she just turned
4 on Thursday.
And she looks like a mini Barbie.
She's
just like a mom.
Yeah.
Cheeks, everything.
Cheeks, all the cheeks.
Everything. She really does have all of them.
She does.
Everybody.
Yeah.
But you did mention while you were going along this journey that you felt, you were in these situations and you felt really alone, and you were just kind of, you were having some conflict with your parents, but was there anyone that you felt like maybe came along, even if it was for a moment, that maybe inspired you in the moment, or maybe was able to get you through, okay, let me just take one more step? Like, was there someone like that?
There absolutely was. I mean, I think, once I divorced my second husband, I moved here to Atlanta, and I moved in a truck with a U-Haul and my dog by myself. And I was like, at that point, I was like, either I can go home with my tail between my legs and live in my parents' basement as a 28, 29-year-old and admit defeat. And I thought, I don't think that's where God's leading me. And I thought, I need to see what I'm made of. I need to know who I am, what I am capable of, because my identity had for so long been tied to other people.
Yes.
Of who I was. I was so-and-so's wife. I was, and so I really just wanted to find out who I was and what I could do. And when I got here to Atlanta, there were a couple of people that I had known briefly through either work connections or my second husband or whatever. And, I reached out to them, and they'd meet me for coffee or lunch just to have somebody.
Yes.
And then once I started working, I started to really find some incredible friends and women specifically who, just provided that space of like, I like you for you without anybody else.
Yeah,
right. Like, they didn't know me before. They don't know my family. They didn't know my husbands. They just were liking me for
you.
How I was when I showed up every day. And I thought, oh, maybe I can get to like this person too. And so I just really started to kind of lean into that and listen to, the things that I thought I wanted to be and who I wanted to be. And when I started to do that, not what I wanted out of life in terms of material things, but who do I want to be? Who do I want to surround myself with? Then things just started happening in terms of progressing and making really good friends and meeting my husband and, falling in love with somebody who loves all of me. I mean, he knows everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of that good stuff. And he still wanted to be with
He
me.
still chose
And
you.
yeah, and it was really eye-opening. And then, it's just been a really fun kind of roller coaster ride when you stop making decisions about where you think you should be, or that you've got this,
Yes.
and I don't need help.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start praying before you make decisions, or you start, really talking with your partner or your friends, then the decisions that get made are the right ones for you.
You're at peace, right? You're at
You
peace
do.
because you know that you put it in his hand, and you just kind of surrender at that point.
And it's like, this could be for now, this could be for a little bit, could be for a long time. I mean, I just started kind of saying yes to the doors that he was opening in front of me. And just, if it wasn't for me, it wasn't for me. But I wasn't tying my identity to the decisions that I was making. I was making them based on who I wanted to be, what I wanted to live into, and the values I wanted to create. And it's just been really fun. So I've had a lot of different jobs, but it's just kind of progressed. And now my husband Tony and I look at each other some days and we're just like, can you believe this life that we have? I
know.
I mean, we started, he had recently gotten divorced, and we are living in his house, and his ex-wife had taken all of the furniture. And by all of the furniture, I mean all of the furniture. And so we went to IKEA one night. He got we had $700. Which is a lot of money, but we had $700, and we were like, okay, we're gonna go to IKEA. We're in his 2-seater Mazda pickup truck, stick shift.
I know how to drive a stick shift. Yes. Okay. Yes. And so you're yes. Right. All right.
And we're like going to IKEA,
and you see the writing.
Okay. And we get as much stuff as we can for $700, a bed.
Okay.
Right? We probably need a table, coffee table. Just bare minimum.
The essentials.
And then of course a TV.
Yes.
He's a huge sports fan.
Yeah.
And we're sitting in this truck, and again, it's just a cab. It's 2 seaters, and we have a 40-inch TV
sticking out,
wedged between us. He's over here, the TV's kitty corner to the front windshield, because there was no other way. And I'm just sitting, and he blew a red light, and we got pulled over. So we got a speeding ticket. The cop had no idea that I was in the passenger seat, because the TV is blocking. Yes. And I'm just over there
crazy.
Oh my gosh, I don't have my seatbelt on. I hope he can't see me.
Oh my gosh.
But, and we came from that of, we both had nothing, because we didn't have anything.
Yeah.
And now our life is so blessed. But if we lose it all again,
then you can.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, because again, it was built on.
Yes,
it was built on our faith. It was built on our relationship together, and so. But we do. Sometimes we just look around and we're like, can you believe our house? Can you believe our gorgeous daughter? Can you believe our jobs?
Yes.
We're getting paid to do that. Me especially.
Carly.
I get paid to do this.
She gets paid to give away money.
I do.
Literally. Millions of dollars. Yeah. She gets paid to do that.
I do.
Exactly. We're gonna get into that. But yes. So now how did you and Tony meet? Can you say that? Is that PG-13?
It's good. It's good.
Let's just say
meeting him was PG. Meeting him was G.
Okay.
But at the time, I had taken a job here in Atlanta. What moved me here for the Cherokee Board of Realtors. So I was running an association of realtors, which was great. I liked it. Executive work, whatever. And he was working for Georgia Multiple Listing Service at the time. And if you're a real estate agent, you need to take so many hours of continuing education. Well, he was a trainer and would come and provide that education for the members of my association. So he'd come walking in. He's bald. And I did not think that was my type. Let's be real. But he comes in. He's got these amazing eyes, this great smile, great sense of humor. And anyway, but he came in to teach a class, and I was like, hey. Yeah. Hey. What's going on? Yeah, what's up? professional. He's super polite. But he's fabulous. And so we, hung out. We went to dinner and just started kind of dating. I'm just like, I want to spend more time with this guy. And I do have to say, out of all the husbands, Tony's the first one that truly, not only does he see me and he knows kind of what I've been through and all the ugly places, he really celebrates the beautiful places. Yes. And he supports me in terms of, being that independent woman. I know that can be sometimes really difficult. Yeah. And he is a little bit older than I am. And so
we went from like same age to 5 to now 10. Okay. All right.
Stepping it up.
Maturity here.
Yeah. And I do feel 10's like the good one, because I'm like, okay.
That's the number. I'm sticking to
it. I don't think I'd go older.
Oh my gosh.
The maturity levels.
Yes.
It's probably as good as
it's.
Right? Okay. But I think, whenever we go someplace and I'm his guest, if it's his space, he always introduces me, and he always has this thing that I just feel like he's so proud of me, which means so much. He's the only one, and then my parents, who I really want to make proud of me. And so just that support has been incredible. And the fact that we pray together, and just when we talk about things, it's always in that, in the verbiage of faith, of, where it's coming from. Exactly. Of like, this is really weighing heavy on my heart, or I feel like this is in conflict with what I believe or my values. And it's just been really fun. And although I'm not sure that I believe marriage is hard, I believe marriage is work. Yes. Right. But I don't think it has to be hard, because now that I believe I'm with the right person, right. It's not hard. Yeah. It is work. Yeah. You have to be intentional about spending time together, about listening and communicating, and you're always going to go through those things. But I don't like when it's just like, oh, marriage is so hard. And it's like, well, I believe marriage is just work. You have to, if you want to be successful at work in your profession, you're going to show up every day. Yeah. You're going to show up, and you're going to choose to do what you need to do.
We emphasize showing up at work, but do we really emphasize showing up in your marriage?
Right. And I think that that's a little bit different, and it's not hard when you want to choose who you're with the majority of the time. Okay, let's be real. There are days
that will listen.
Right.
I'm like, oh, you still here.
There are days. Right. Yes. There are days.
All right.
I really got to choose you too.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. I love it. Right. I'm just glad, like, I'm not the only one that feels that.
No.
I think what you just said, like, it's not that marriage is hard, but it's work. Yeah. But I think it goes back to us interchanging the words. Yeah. So you could be working at something, but really what you identify with is it's hard. Or something could be hard, but you're really working at it. Right. And one of the things that kind of blew my mind was love Brene Brown. Oh. Right? Like, it's
Preach, girl.
Listen. Brene Brown. Okay? Brene Brown. Yeah. And I just, by happenstance, happened to be tuning in to Oprah's podcast. So Oprah has a podcast called Food for the Soul, it's the Soul Series. And I'm like scrolling through, I'm like, and of course, like, Oprah does not interview anybody bad, right? No. So, but I'm going through the speakers, I'm like, something's got to move me today. Oprah and Brene Brown. I was like, I just got like, shit. Like, I was just like, what? I was like, I don't even know what this is about, but I'm going to listen to it. And it was Brene Brown was talking about her book, Atlas of the Heart. Yes. And how we, as humans, have a tendency to only be able to identify like 5 emotions. Yeah. I think it is like 4 or 5. Can't quite remember.
Anger is one.
Anger, happy, sadness, and there's two more.
Yeah.
And that outside of that, we don't really have the vocabulary or the education to really express how we're feeling.
Yeah.
And so she created this book to kind of break it down, like break down words and the true meaning behind them and how we're using them interchangeably. And I was just like, one thing that hit me like a ton of bricks was resentment.
Yeah.
I never, until I read that book, used that word correctly. Because for me, resentment was something that was directed at someone.
Yeah.
But resentment is actually inward.
Yeah.
So you resenting yourself for making that decision or for allowing that person to take you, whatever it is, right? And I was just like, I sat in my bed paralyzed.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, what?
Right.
And so when you just mentioned, marriage is not hard, it's work, I'm like, well, people may not be understanding that really what they mean is that marriage is work, but it's hard.
Yeah. Work can be hard sometimes. It can be challenging,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
You can always get better at it. I mean, I think about anything else we do in our lives when it's, if you want to, we both like fitness. Mm-hmm. So it's, if we want to either tone up, build muscle, run farther, run faster, you gotta put the work in.
Exactly.
To get it done.
Exactly.
And it can be hard, but it's rewarding, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like it's not a negative hard.
Yes, exactly.
And so I think that's where I really kind of associate marriage to. It's just like, I don't know why I feel as if we just believe like you get married and then
it's just hard.
And then that's just it. Like you don't do anything in your marriage. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you're married, okay, like got that accomplished. Right. And now we're gonna be happily ever after for the next forever years. Right? Until one of us croaks. And that's just not like anything else we do. It takes
time into it, effort, work, blood, sweat, tears.
Right.
I mean,
whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
And it's like I just never applied that to marriage. I just thought, yes, okay, if I want to be successful in my profession, then I'm going to take these steps. I'm going to put in the work. I'm going to go to school, or I'm going to get a certification, or I'm going to continue to develop myself and all this kind of stuff. Or same with physical fitness. If I want to do this, or if I want to do that. I mean, the number of parenting books that I've read, or like what to expect when I was expecting and all that.
And guess what?
That's all
you may as well throw it out the window.
I know, right?
Because when the child gets there, you're like,
who is kidding? This is why there's so many parenting books. Nobody knows what they're talking about.
Exactly.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
They don't come with a handbook.
No, But I did all of that work, right, to like be prepared to be a parent. Exactly. I never did any of that work to be prepared to be
for it to be hard.
Right?
Wife. Yes.
I was like, okay, I'm preparing to be a mother and what to expect and how to be. But it's like, did I read any books about how to be a good wife? About how to be a good partner? About no.
We just assume that we'll go to couple counseling. We'll say a few things and then
unless it gets when it gets really bad.
Yes.
Right? Like it's like you gotta wait for it. I mean, that's what I did in my first marriage. It was just like it had to get super bad before I decided to like maybe try to get some help. And then it was beyond saving. Yeah. Exactly. And I was just like, this is badass words. Okay. And so I think that, you do, it's kind of a daily thing. If you're going to get up and put good things in your body and work out for, 30, 60 minutes a day, then spend 30 to 60 minutes a day working on your marriage, whether it's praying together or for each other or, again, doing something nice, whatever it is to make your marriage stronger. We just don't put in that work as often.
We get up.
And then it's hard because it's like, well, then what do you expect?
Very true.
Right.
And just, you gotta be, okay. Carly dropping the nuggets here, y'all. I mean, she's dropping them. I hope you're catching it. So you meet Tony, and wow, look at this life that we have built together, right? We have this daughter, this beautiful home. And now I want to switch gears and go over to this purpose that you have. I'm gonna call it purpose. I don't know what you're gonna call it, but I'm gonna call it purpose. And to see, for me, it's just how natural you are in when it comes to that element. I'm just like, so just to put things in perspective, Carly came into our place of work and literally built the community affairs department by herself. Through her connections, through her skill set, through her knowledge, like by herself, to where we're giving away millions of dollars every year to the community. Came up with the mission, pitched it to the executive team. And if y'all know our executive team, I love y'all, maybe a little bit, but y'all not the easiest people to deal with. Okay, so I had to do that, and it's like I look at Carly and I'm like, if this isn't her, what purpose means, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me. And so, how did you even begin? How did you even enter that space?
I think so. I started, in nonprofit at United Way of Greater Atlanta,
which crazy enough is like it's one of, at the time you're in United Way. I'm at Gas South. United Way is one of our biggest partners. And I put together this new hire orientation video. Carly's in the video, but I don't realize that it's Carly until we hire Carly. I was like, wait a minute, you're the same person in our video. So it was crazy circumstance. I mean, coincidence.
And I fell into that work too. I went to work for United Way because they had benefits. Like,
you're like, I need something.
I did. I was just like, I'm in here. I'm over here working for, the Real Estate Association, which was great, but I'm making like less than $30,000 with no benefits. And I'm just like, I'm in Atlanta and I can't, like, I'm struggling.
Yes.
Right? And so United Way comes along and they're like, hey, would you want to raise money for us? And, we'll give you a better salary and benefits. And I was like, you got it. I don't know what you do, but I got this.
Okay.
And so I did. I just started going to work for them and I fell in love with the people that I was working with. And I just kind of fell in love with, there's just something to this community aspect that I feel like we are losing more and more of, but just taking care of each other. And I just found that so important and hopeful that these nonprofits exist because people want to take care of other people. They just don't know how. Yeah. And so we have these organizations that do it because it can be uncomfortable. Right. But so I started working there and thought like, this is great. And I kind of worked my way around and up. I was willing to just do kind of anything and I took to the work. And Gas South, our company now, was one of my accounts that I raised money for. And when the nonprofit work burnt me out, which it did, because like I've got a heart, but I don't have a heart for social work or nonprofit work. I'm just like, people are running us into the ground and we're just not, it was hard to go to work each day to raise money to help people who are experiencing homelessness or hungry and then I'm looking out of our building's window and seeing people still sleeping on the bench right outside our offices. And it just is really hard. I am not resilient in that way of just like not being able to see the progress that I feel like I need to see for the amount of work that I felt like I was doing. Yeah. And I was like, I need to get over to corporate because we all know we can make more money and have more benefits in corporate. And I thought, let me look at companies that I really admire and like, and I had known people at Gas South from working with them. And I was like, I like this. I think maybe I can give this a try. Okay. And so I applied for an executive assistant position and thought, I have in my mind that I want to give the money instead of ask for the money. And I said, I know that's going to be tough, but let me just get into a company because I know myself now well enough at this point to know that I can make that happen if I put in the work. And sure enough, that's kind of what happened. And I just started doing more of it and having ideas. And I think what I love most is engaging with my colleagues and who get excited and passionate about this too. We spend so much time at work, and so much of our jobs don't have that element in it.
Yeah.
And it's so fulfilling when you can bring that element into a place where you're spending 90,000 hours of your life, right? To make it a happier place, to make it a more fulfilling and rewarding place. And I just love providing that for the people that I work alongside, and then the community as well. You know, we give a little differently. We give to give, and not to have our logo splashed everywhere or do a check presentation. I mean, we still do those things sometimes.
I mean, we are
to my chagrin.
Entity. Okay. Yeah.
But to be able just to do it differently, and to apply what I learned from asking for money and how difficult that job is, and how that, you know, sometimes corporate dollars are red taped around like what they can be used for. It really ties nonprofits' hands in making impactful work. Using that knowledge to then be able to change it and to do it differently, and then to see that when we do it differently, it's really been able to blossom and grow from just kind of that grassroots level and get a lot of momentum. And so I think when you're continuously kind of being told that you're doing it right in terms of how people are reacting to your work, they're responding to it really positively, and you're gaining momentum. That's what really kind of keeps me going, and knowing that I'm on track is, you know, is just that continual, like, those doors do open. Our executives are very open to listening about, okay, where do you think we should go, or what do you think we should try? And I think if you fail fast, there are a lot.
Failing is part of it.
That's more palatable.
Yes.
Right? Like, don't fail and sit there.
Right. Like, fall and then just get right.
Fail and then try something different.
Exactly. Like right away.
Yeah.
They won't notice it.
That's right. Keep it moving.
Exactly.
Just
and
keep
what
it.
happened? Nothing.
Be like, what are you talking about?
Exactly.
Huh? Who's that? Is that a squirrel?
Exactly.
What?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready. So you come in and you pitch this vision of children in need. Why children in need specifically?
Yeah. Well, this is, again, it's kind of another fluke. I'm not going to take credit for it at all. But working with United Way, you know, they started developing a child well-being map, and the discussions that we were having around this child well-being and the indicators, and why it was so important was because children, yes, are our future. And even if you don't have children, or, you know, the indicators around if children are able to thrive and be successful and get the right opportunity, it means success for the community as a whole. Right? Like, if your schools are doing well and children have access to great schools, that means that we're creating opportunity and individuals that are going to be able to lift up the community as a whole as they go through the education system. And so whether or not you have a child in a school or whatever it might be, you're still going to benefit from having those things. And so it really was like, okay, well, that's why. That's why children. Because if we do things around kids, I didn't have kids at the time, so I was just kind of like, all right. But
that sounds good.
But there was so much work around that, those indicators, that it just was like, I mean, it just makes more sense if we're building a better future for our children. That's just going to mean it's a better future for them.
And I can't even tell you what the mission was before that. Like that, because to me, that is so, such a clear vision. That I'm like, what was it before that? We didn't have one?
No, it was Gas Out Cares.
Oh, yes.
And we did things with senior citizens.
We did.
Yeah.
And not to say that
was a bad
audience, right? You know, those benefactors don't need it, but I do feel like, I do very much agree with you. You take care of the children, you're pretty much taking care of the community in longevity, right?
Yeah.
So you, like, for the future.
Yeah.
You take care of senior citizens. I'm not saying that they don't need it, but I feel like the children has a bigger impact on the community as a whole, right? And it's like they have the ability to impact the people that come after them and after them and after them and after them.
Yeah.
Right? But I was like, wow. Like when I heard our mission for the first time, which is be a fuel for good, I was like, wow. Because to the way it translated to me, it's like it's not just something that I do at work.
Right.
And it's not just something that I do for community service.
Yeah.
But it's something I can do at home.
Yeah.
In my personal life.
Yeah.
Like I can be that fuel for good. Whether it's with my family, whether it's with my colleague, whether it's out in the community. Like it just applies to everything in life. And so when I heard that, I was just like, doggone it, Carly did it.
Well,
You know?
thank you. I
Yeah.
can't take full credit
It's
for
like,
that, but
wow. But I just thought it was amazing. And it gave us that laser focus on what we stood for when we went out into the community. Like I don't think there's an employee at our job right now that can go out and not appropriately articulate what our mission is. They know it. I don't think so, but maybe we should survey.
I know. Well, we do use Be a Fuel for Good a lot.
We do.
A lot of our communications
we use that.
Which is great. But it's an invitation, and it's supposed to be active, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that we can. I think my hope is that, yes, I think I do have the best job in our company for sure. However,
I beg to differ.
Okay, good.
I do love my job.
Okay, good.
I do.
But I do hope, I think, just being around that, what I hope is that everyone understands their ability and their role to be a fuel for good, no matter where they are, personally or professionally. And that, yes, I get to give away money, sure, which is fabulous, but we all have the responsibility inside and outside of work to be that fuel for good.
Absolutely.
And inspire good. I mean, getting back to just the community aspect of, we can't expect things to change around us if we're not willing to take action ourselves, right? Like, how do we expect the road rage to stop if, you're not putting your middle finger down when you're on the road? You know what I mean? Like, I just think we all need to remember that, yes, we would all sometimes like our communities to be nicer, safer places.
All have a price to play in that.
We do.
Yeah.
And the only thing you can control is your own actions around it. And so it's just this invitation of like, you've got to do it. You got to put the work in, right? And you've got to do it. And it starts with you. And once you do that though, and other people, are around you and see it, you can really invite other people.
You never know who's watching. You just
never
know who's watching.
No, listen. No, you do not.
Exactly. So we're almost at an end. Oh my gosh. So purpose.
Yeah.
I think I made the decision that you are walking in your purpose. But I'm like, So what does purpose mean to you?
That's such a good question. I think there's a lot of purpose in my role at work, which is wonderful. But I've felt more recently over the past few years and since having a daughter that my purpose is really more around trying to empower other women and trying to be the role model my daughter needs me to be, and doing that in or outside of work. But purpose to me is just really whatever sets you on fire and that other people are reacting to positively in you, that you're doing, that you're exuding. I think, again, there can be some really tough decisions to be made when you're living in your purpose. There can be some decisions that are not favorable by everybody when you're living in your purpose. But when you make those decisions, there's no doubt around it.
Exactly.
And you're okay with upsetting some
There's
people.
a certainty that comes with that.
There is.
Certainty and confidence.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think I'm at the age now too where I just I'm giving zero in terms of I give zero, fill in the blank.
About what you think.
About what other people think about me, about what other people think about anything. How I look, how I speak, and mostly because I think it's that confidence of knowing who I am, knowing, that I'm a child of his and living into that purpose where it's just like, I don't care about what you think I need to be doing or what you think don't need to be doing
Yeah.
all that great stuff. Like, this is me.
Yeah.
This is who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm confident and comfortable in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can have those fleeting moments of purpose, right? Throughout kind of your life. I know there are some glimpses as I started getting older and going through everything that I did. And when you find those moments of where you have that confidence and you believe you made the right decision or you're doing the right thing, then you just hang on to that and you try to continue to extend
those were the breadcrumbs kind of manifesting themselves before you even started.
Yes.
Right? And so now you're able to go back and be like, well, that was a cue. Well, that one was, that one too. And so you're able to pull it all together now. Yeah. Just pretty amazing. Yeah. But oh my gosh, so this is it.
Thank you. I loved it. It was so fun. It went so fast.
It did. It always, time flies when you're having fun. So insiders, that is our show for today. I really hope you had fun listening to Ebony and Ivory. Maybe that should be a podcast.
Listen, I'm not opposed to it.
Ebony and Ivory. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should definitely think about that. Okay. And so really encouraging words is it doesn't matter where you are in your journey. First of all, I really truly believe that he'll plant somebody in there to help you, to support you. And it's a journey. So part of it does include failing, stumbling, getting married 3 times. But it's your journey and it's a journey that's unique to you. And ultimately you'll end up exactly where you need to end up. So that's my little soapbox for the day. We are dropping new episodes every Monday. We are also on social media on Instagram and Facebook, Inside the Bubble with HG. So make sure to check us out. And if you just enjoy this segment, this podcast recording episode, well, make sure to drop us a review on whatever listening platform that you are tuning into. Okay. And before I sign off, you know what I always say. There's purpose in your story. I hope you enjoyed our show today. Hit the subscribe button and share. Share this pod with your family, with your friends, with your girlfriends. And follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Inside the Bubble with HG. Keep the conversation going. Drop us a heart emoji. Engage with us. We would love to hear from you. New episodes are dropping every Monday on your podcast streaming platforms. And remember, there's purpose in your story.